Hi guys, so for today's lesson, I want to make sure you have everything in front of you that you need. So you need to have your unit-long notes packet in front of you. You need to have your class copy of your American Revolution documents. And you need to have your answer document handout, which is due at the end of class. You also need a pencil or a pen, a highlighter, and your journal. So if you don't have your journal, go get it from the filing booth cabinet thing. So before we get started, I wanted to go over our goal that we've been working towards all year. And I want to make sure we're all on the same page with this. Our goal is that 80% of us are going to pass the U.S. History STAAR. Now that's a really high goal, but I'm confident we can meet that. We just need to make sure we're putting in the prep work here and at home. Okay, so let's get started. Today, we're on day 2. We are zooming ahead to the American Revolution and the Articles of Confederation. So we're going to look at, we're going from the Pilgrims and the 13 colonies, discovering America, all that jazz, to the colonies becoming very independent and that leading to tension with their mother country, aka Britain, aka England. So in order for us to be on the same page, go ahead and take out your unit-long review sheets and turn to day 2 to get some notes started. So, if you guys remember from class about the French and Indian War, that is when France and the Native Americans went against the colonists in Great Britain. They fought against each other over this chunk of land past the Appalachian Mountains, which are here, and before the Ohio River Valley, and the Ohio River. So, France and England both wanted this land. The British won the war, and they got control of all the land up to the Mississippi River. So you can see this is the before and the after. So English territory grew a lot. The problem was, though, they were in debt. Go ahead and make sure you fill in that word debt. So after the British won the war, the colonists were super excited because they're like, yay, we can move across the Appalachian Mountains, like literal mountains, like we wanted to, because they wanted to settle this land west of the Appalachian Mountains. But then King George comes, LOL, JK, no, you can't do that. And this makes the colonists super angry, okay? Colonists were told they were not able to move west of the Appalachian Mountains because of the Proclamation of 1763. Make sure you fill in this word Appalachian and go ahead to show me that you're listening. Highlight this term Proclamation of 1763. Remember that I proclaim this line invisible. So King George continued to make the colonists super angry by doing even more annoying stuff. And remember, you guys, the colonists fought in this war. So to have the king say, no, you can't settle that land, and also tax them to pay off the war debt was a big problem, and colonists didn't take it well. The Boston Tea Party happened in protest. Remember, that's when the Sons of Liberty dressed up as Native Americans and jumped on a boat and dumped a bunch of British tea into the water, the Boston Harbor, as boycotting it. And they also would tar and feather tax collectors. So those men who work for the British government who came to say, hey, like, time to pay up, buddies, patriots and people who protesting this tax would actually pour hot tar onto these men, which is like burning hot, sticky mud, and then feather them, which is painful and really humiliating. In addition to that, so an example of boycotts for you, like some people say boycott Wendy's, it's when you ban something or refuse to go there or do that, use that product, just like boycotting tea, boycotting Wendy's, or whatever it is. Make sure that you fill in that term taxed. King George III taxed the colonies, and colonists would protest, and to show me you're listening, highlight the word boycott. Now, it probably doesn't shock you that King George III was not a huge fan of the colonists boycotting and protesting his new laws, so he responded with something called the Intolerable Acts. This did 3 main things. It closed Boston Harbor, so the place where shipping happens, where boats come in and out for trade, which really hurts the colonies. He also increased government control by taking away the colonies' local governments and replacing them with British government leaders. And lastly, it allowed for the quartering of British soldiers. Remember the third Bill of Rights, 1, 2, 3, the Anti-Quartering Act? Quartering Act is when soldiers are forced to live in your house, eat your food, sleep in your bed, take your stuff. Not that great if you're a colonist. Make sure that you highlight this term quartering for me. So at this point, colonists are just straight up over it. They're in an abusive relationship, hello kitty, with King George, and they just really do not want to be a part of that relationship anymore. They want to break up with KG3. So they write the Declaration of Independence, okay? It's on July 4th, 1776. It's this big fancy document that you see on my whiteboard, and it's a really big deal. So the Declaration of Independence overall said, Dear King George, we're breaking up with you because you suck. But here are the 4 main things it did. First of all, it said that all men are created equal. And they should have found that word equal. It also says that government is meant to protect the people's rights. Right in this word rights. And if the government doesn't do that, people can get rid of that bad government. And the 4th thing it says, and probably the most important thing from this document, is that America is now its own free country. So take that, King George. Go ahead and highlight this 4th one because it's probably the most important one here. So we are now going to put our notes packet aside, and you are going to pull out your class copy of your American Revolution documents, and we are also going to pull out our American Revolution documents handout from today. We're going to walk through this together. I will kind of help you with some leading questions, then you'll pause me, answer some questions. We'll do that a couple of times, and then we'll go back to our notes document at the end. So this exercise is also where having your journal out will come in handy for you, because in the questions document, you'll see that in some places I put page numbers. Those page numbers are references to things in your journal that you can look up answers to. But if you messed up your journal or you didn't take good notes, you also have Google. So let's look at document A. I'm going to kind of walk you through what I notice here. So in document A, I notice it's some kind of political cartoon. I also see that it says join or die at the bottom. And I see it's a snake. Now, the snake is cut up into a bunch of pieces. And so that makes me think that the snake in pieces is dead. But a snake together is kind of fierce and scary. Something else I noticed are these initials right here. New York, New Jersey, Virginia. That's kind of interesting to me too. So think about why those things coming together versus staying apart and what the message of this is. With that in mind, go ahead and answer questions 1, 2, and 3 on document A, your answer sheet, and pause me while you do. Alright, document B, let's check this out. So, a lot going on in this picture, right? So I see these people who are smiling and they're shoving something down this man's throat. He looks like he's in pain and he's like defenseless. His body's covered in something that looks like feathers. And I see this bucket over here of some gooey, dark substance. And then I see this tree that says Liberty Tree. They're standing in front of it. I also see a noose on the Liberty Tree, which is kind of interesting. I wonder who that's meant for. Additionally, in the background, I see this boat and on water, and I see people on the boat dumping something out of it. Okay. So with that knowledge in mind, go ahead and answer questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 using your journal or Google if you need to. Alrighty, document C. Let's look at this. So this looks like some kind of map to me, and I see these little like POW signs. So it's got to be some kind of battle, and I see words like British, and I also see some rivers and like a path, Paul Revere, Revere captured. So this looks like some kind of battle. Now I also notice that there are 2 like POW signs, so there must be 2 battles, and they're pretty close to each other. So it looks like the same people fighting at each place. So that's kind of interesting to me too. That's all I'm going to give you for this one. Check out the names of the places where these battles are happening, and then use your journal in the pages and Google to answer document C questions. Alrighty, document D. This is a quote from someone named Abigail Adams in a letter to John Adams, same last name, so somehow they're related, maybe a wife. December 9, 1781. This year sounds familiar to me. I feel like there was some battle that happened this year. Okay, let's read this. America may boast that she has accomplished what no power before her ever did, contending with Britain. Captured 2 of their celebrated generals and each an army of thousands of veteran troops to support them. So it sounds like she's describing America doing something good and really exciting, which is going up against Britain and doing well. Think about that. Think about who this person is. Think about this year. And with that knowledge in mind, answer your Document D questions. I gave you clues for journal pages. Document E. Ooh, this looks familiar to me. So what do I see? I see 2 groups of people. I see some British redcoats with rifles and muskets and a lot of smoke, like gunpowder maybe. And I see a group of, looks like just colonists. I see a man with blood coming out of his head. Looks like he might be dead. And they're super close. I also notice that the British have all these weapons, and these people just look kind of innocent and really hurt and just scared and don't know what to do. Okay, so with that information in mind, go ahead and answer your Document E questions using Google and your journal as your friend. Alright, Document F. I see this is a quote from the Treaty of Paris from 1783. Here's what it says. It having pleased the divine providence to dispose the hearts of the most serene and most potent Prince George III, that must be King George, right? And of the United States of America, to forget all past misunderstandings and differences that have unhappily interrupted the good correspondence and friendship which they mutually wish to restore. So, sounds like something about like America and Britain, and them being like, alright, let's just leave the past in the past, let's move forward as friends. And it's from the Treaty of Paris. So, it'd be helpful to look that up to answer Document F questions. Do that now. Document G, this should look familiar to you because we've gone over it a few times. My hint to you would be look up this term mercantilism. That'll help you a lot. Think about who this person is. Think about how she looks very fancy and rich, and they look like maids feeding her things. I'll give you a hint. The colonies were responsible for giving Great Britain raw materials. Go ahead and answer your Document G questions. Document H, a crucial American victory, the U.S. National Park Service. Here in the autumn of 1777, American forces met, defeated, and forced a major British army to surrender. This crucial American victory at Saratoga renewed the Patriots' hopes for independence, secured essential foreign recognition and support, and forever changed the face of the world. Okay, so I want you to zoom in on this word Saratoga, and also look at this secured essential foreign recognition and support. Foreign support. Whose support did they get? Answer your Document H questions now. Okay, so we are going back to our long-term notes packet to do some more activities. So go ahead and pull that out and let's go. So this first activity on this page is kind of a fill in the blank with a word bank. You are going to look at some important people from the American Revolution and use these blanks to fill in the names. And you're going to look at some important events and use these blanks to fill in the names. Use Google and your journal as your friend. Let's do the first person together to give you a head start. So, blank advised her husband, John, during the war. Ran the family farm. So I know it's a her, so I can cross out any male names, right? Because there can't be anyone here. I see Abigail, Mercy Otis Warren. Oh, John Adams, Abigail Adams. She was the one who kind of held in the fort. Boom, Abigail Adams. Just a note to only use names once. Not all names or events will be used. Go ahead and pause me now to do this activity and return to this video once you're done. Listen to music if you want to. Alright, moving on to our next activity on this page, which is a matching game. So, here are the directions. Match each cause or grievance, so the complaints that colonists had against King George in England, with a weak solution from the Articles of Confederation. Because remember that when the colonists break away, the whole American Revolution happens, they formed their own government. That's the first government is called the Articles of Confederation, which was super weak because colonists did not want a tyrannical reign like King George was. Alright, so here's the first one. The cause or grievance is taxation without representation. The weak solution is that the federal government can't require states to pay taxes at all. So go ahead and pause and finish this now. Have extra time? Grab an envelope.